I was going through some of my old footage when I would go out to Point Reyes regularly to document what was happening, not just in the park, but outside the park. Like here you have a malt sign on that barn. Very proud of all of this death that you see. You know, that sign says protected forever. And protected from what is what I always say when I look at Marin Agricultural Land Trust land, anything ranched. This shot is right before you get into Point Reyes Station. And on one side, you see trees, you see a park in the background, and then right across the road, you have ranched land. I don't understand how people rationalize this in their minds. I mean, you have the telltale signs of the horizontal ruts of the cattle going back and forth. This is bull thistle. Everything else in there are annual grasses and Italian thistle and cow manure, barbed wire. And then you have trees again, which the ranchers are not responsible for. The best you can get there is to say, thanks for not chopping down everything. And that's only because some people had the forward thinking to protect it. I'm freeze framing it here because I have a very elementary question. Do people think that that's just what naturally occurred right there? Is that what you tell yourselves? It just so happens that ranchers are ranching right where nature already looked terrible. Right across the street is a lush woodland full of a variety of not just trees, but other native California shrubs and other plant life. Life, death. Life, death. And I just have to ask, you think that the ranchers carefully selected land that didn't have all that life? Are you really trying to tell yourselves that this isn't the result of them destroying that life so they could graze cattle? Because that's what you're looking at. And that's who you're calling stewards of the land. Let's go back to this shot and take a closer look. Okay, that's a fence, of course, put up for the ranchers for the sake of their commodity products. And that's a handful of native California oak trees that they were kind enough not to chop down. That's the only thing natural taking place in that shot. Everything else is death, destruction, and the product of years of invasive, non-native plants taking over the land for the sake of their commodities. Everybody cries about fire fuel now, and yet the only thing humans seem to be taking action on is chopping down our friends, the trees, the living creatures that are actually helping keep the planet cool. And surrounding these trees is the fire fuel, the kindling, the very problem. And it's caused by the ranchers that you're celebrating. They are responsible for this. Period. Everything at the base of those old wooden posts is invasive, annual, meaning it dies that year and becomes combustible, fire fuel. And it's all caused by the ranching industry. That is not California. That is not nature. Same goes for everything else, yellow and brown, that you see in the background. Still outside of the seashore, this is dominated by slender oats. Once again, I mean, I don't really need to differentiate. It's all invasive. Unless you see trees, it's invasive. Annual plants brought here by the European settlers that everybody's clapping their hands for and calling stewards of the land. This is what stewards of the land do to the land. See this on the right? All that damage. You see the ruts. You see the marks going through the road. I'm sorry about my dirty windshield. Again, the only thing good happening here are the trees that they haven't killed yet. Let's stop that footage. Let's pause. Okay, rewind and pause. Once again, nothing but annual invasives on the ground. All the black spots is cow manure. Of course, you have the barbed wire in the foreground, and we have a water trough, as if all the crisscrossing tracks on the ground weren't evidence enough. I mean, I don't know why anyone thinks that I would be making this up. They're very proud of this land. They have signs up all over the place bragging that this is ranch land. And that's what it looks like. It's up to you to wake up and understand that that's terrible. You need to stop celebrating this. That is the desolation of habitat. It's not just in Point Reyes National Seashore. It's throughout Marin County and Sonoma County. Note the horizontal ruts there. Again, I don't know why I'm trying to convince you that cattle are responsible for this. It's well known. I have so much footage of this. Oh, there. Those barns aren't fire threats, are they? I'm sure they're designated as historic because they're about to fall to pieces. Look at this. That is death. That's not habitat. That is not wildlife habitat. And what do we have coming up here? Some more troughs. See, I have so much footage of this that I'm just going to cut myself off because I know it'll get overwhelming. But this is what Marin County looks like thanks to ranchers. And somehow, not only are you thanking them for it, but you're giving them extra millions of dollars to keep doing this to the land. And then you turn around and you punish trees for being the cause of fire fuel issues. If it weren't for the ranchers, this would be full of native California, fire-resistant, drought-resistant perennial plants and trees. Trees keeping the planet cool, trees providing shade, trees providing habitat. Now the only place that trees remain are in parks and where ranchers left a few for their cattle to have shade. And most of these ranchers aren't even that thoughtful. Oh yeah, maybe we should have left a couple. I rewound to here and still framed it at this footage because I said, I don't know why I need to try and prove to you that this is ranch land when they proudly put up signs for it. That's, again, another malt sign, protected forever. Look at it. That sign isn't up in the beautiful trees. No, that sign is in front of this dead, dry, ready to burn, invasive vegetation. Look at the growth along those old wooden fence posts. All of that is invasive. Most of it is stabby, covered in thistles, covered in seeds that will get into your socks and your shoes and will not only get into the eyes, ears, and noses of your dogs, but will actually kill your dogs. Again, another thing that you can thank ranchers for. The millions and millions and millions of dollars in vet bills every year of dogs going and having those types of foxtail seeds removed from their bodies. And you're still glorifying the people who are responsible for it. All right, I got to stop. That's enough for this one. We still aren't to Point Reyes National Seashore yet. The destruction begins way before that.